have 5 minutes, Ms. Doherty.
Thank you. You all can just take the 3 different packets there. Sorry. Have to find a little space so I don't block the presentation. But good evening, everyone. 5D Commissioners, community. My name is Laisha Doherty, and I am the Constituent Services Coordinator for Councilmember McDuffie, here to bring greetings on behalf of the office. Before I get into the heavy lifting legislative updates, just a couple of community updates. We received notification from the H Street Community Development Corporation that they are accepting applications for their John A. Wilson Scholarship. So if you know a high school junior or senior with a grade point average of 2.75 or above from a DCPS or DC Public Charter School, please have them apply for this scholarship. It's specific to Ward 5, 6, and 7 residents. I gave each commissioner a copy of the application. If perhaps you need more, please feel free to contact me and I'm happy to email it over. Another thing is it's budget season, and budget season is performance oversight season. And performance oversight season is when the council goes through each agency that they chair and pretty much take a review of the performance for the previous year. So this is a pretty lengthy packet in which I do not have copies for everyone, but there are a few copies on the back. If there's an agency that you want to testify about, take a look at the list and see, and definitely testify. The testimonies can be done in person or written to whoever the chairperson of the committee is. Secondly, today the mayor announced that she will be closing DC General and that she's proposing homeless shelters in all of the 8 wards. There are some concerns about the location of the Ward 5 shelter proposal, and the reason is because it is going to be located, the proposal is to be located in a community that is already oversaturated with this population. There are the shelters, the hotel, the Days Inn shelter. There's also the Adams Place shelter. There's also a couple of other concerns. The nightclubs are in this one kind of radius, couple streets next to each other. And so Councilmember McDuffie did hold a meeting before this was announced to the city with the city administrator and the deputy director for human services, expressing his concerns about the placement of this location. There is going to be a Ward 5 meeting, which I would like to invite you all to attend to raise your concerns regarding this location. The meeting will be Thursday, February 11th, 2016 at 6:30 at New Canaan Baptist Church, which is 2826 Blaytonsburg Road Northeast. This community, the Langdon Woodridge, Greater Woodridge community, like I said, they've already experienced numerous amount of concerns with the ABC licenses, the nightclubs, the trash, parking. There's public urination going on in these communities. So please support your neighbors if you can, and if not, just definitely come out to hear about the proposal that is being done. I'm sorry, was there a question?
Yeah. So is there a projection, another site in mind, or?
I don't know how much information I'm allowed to share, but I do believe that when a council member met with the city administrator, they said that that was the best fit location for the Ward 5 one.
So does Councilman McDuffie has another site in mind? Does he have?
I'm not.
Site.
I'm sorry.
He sent the email saying he wants no site in Ward 5. My community has like the New York Avenue, and I have the one in Ivy City, so there really isn't a need for additional one.
Well, and my next question is, so if they were to put this in Ward 5, are they gonna shut down the Days Inn and the other ones, or?
That has not been confirmed, but I do not think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And so again, the major concern is that opening this would add, another at-risk population to this already oversaturated community. So, were there any questions about that before I get into the near act stuff?
Did you say 6:30?
Yes, 6:30 New Canaan Baptist Church. The Thursday the 11th. How am I looking on time? Sorry.
20 seconds.
Okay, 20 seconds on time. So the Neighborhood Engagement Achieves Results Act, which is the NEAR Act, you know, I don't know if you guys been following the news or et cetera, but there's major concerns about this particular piece of legislation. So just a couple quick notes. The bill is taking an innovative public health approach to addressing crime. So when I'm taking Tommy's time, don't tell him. But what this means is that Councilman McDuffie believes that a lot of the crime stems from mental health issues, lack of jobs, lack of programs. And so the NEAR Act will take a holistic approach to address and curb some of these violent crimes. Nothing in the bill reduces the current law enforcement efforts, and Councilman Member McDuffie and Chief Lanier have both said that you cannot arrest your way out of a crime problem, and this is why you need to focus on prevention. So instead of waiting, be proactive before these things occur. The One Act will create different offices, grant-making authorities for the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice, and a couple of other things. I don't want to run over on time because I see you guys have a really packed agenda, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them regarding the NEAR Act. And just one final thing, if you guys can keep the McDuffie family in your prayers. Councilman McDuffie did lose his dad last Wednesday, and so as a result, tomorrow our office will be closed as we will be attending services. So if you need anything and you may not get an immediate response tomorrow, know that we see it, but we may not be able to address it immediately. That concludes my time for this evening, and any questions, you can pass me a note or after the meeting, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have our team from 5th District Police, Sergeant Delegates. You have 5 minutes. Give you 30 seconds to come up.
Back, yeah, some of the time that she may have taken. No. Sergeant Delegates from PSA 507. Just going over some of the crime stats that occurred down in 507 in the last couple of weeks since the last meeting. Fortunately, there has been a reduction in robberies in the area. There have been 3 that occurred since the last meeting, the last 3 weeks. 2 of them we're thinking is the same suspect, the same MOs. They occurred in 1700 block of Benning Road. Both of them involved handguns. Specifically, both victims stated that it was an automatic, sort of a MAC-10 style automatic extended clip handgun. In both instances, one instance a pair of shoes was taken, the other instance a coat was taken. Again, both of them in 1700 block of Benning Road. The third was closed by arrest. It also involved a handgun. The individual was arrested and a handgun was recovered from the scene there. That was located in the 1800 block of Maryland Avenue.
When was that?
That was on the 28th of January. Yes.
And you have a suspect.
That was closed by arrest, correct.
What's the suspect's name?
Mr. Cherry, Dion Cherry, was closed by arrest.
I think I saw that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
For assault with dangerous weapons, there was 2 of them during the same time period compared to 4, so it's a 50% reduction in the last month, in this 30 days compared to the last 30 days. 2 of those, well, yeah, 2 of them were domestic, so both of them were domestic related. So that's, and then burglaries, I did see for burglaries, according to the stats that I was given the other day, there was a decrease. It showed that 0 burglaries occurred. I went through and I checked the stats, and we did have 1 burglary that occurred on 19th Street in the lower end. But other than that, I have not seen anything, and I unfortunately I don't have the 30-day comparison to compare it to on that. But overall, we are seeing a reduction in violent crime in the area of 507. And with that, I will gladly take any questions before I hand it over to PSA 506. Anybody? Okay, thank you. And Sergeant Smilowski, PSA 506.
Okay. How's everybody doing? Same thing, looking back at the stats, we've had 2 ADWs in PSA 506. Both were closed by an arrest. One occurred at on 1400 block of Staples, that was domestic related. The other one actually occurred, it was more of an assault with the intent to kill. That actually happened at 1201 Mount Olivet. And that was a grandson who was high on methamphetamines, came in and ended up stabbing his grandmother pretty badly and her roommate. But like I said, it was closed by an arrest. That was actually occurred during the blizzard. He didn't get too far. We just followed the trail of blood. So.
What's the suspect's name?
Tavon Jones.
Thank you.
We've had a couple of robberies lately. They're mostly down, actually, a lot of our crime right now is taking place down in the Union Market area, so we've increased the patrols down there. We had a robbery of an establishment at 1345 4th Street, and in that case, a subject came into the store in the market area, jumped the counter, tried to grab a purse from the one young lady. A struggle ensued. He did have a gun. He popped off a round. Didn't take an effect or anything like that. But he ended up getting away with the purse, about $1,800 in cash, and they got into a vehicle and fled the scene. So far, it's still an open case. We had another robbery that was actually a carjacking at 500 Penn Street that actually occurred early in the morning. Subject came out of the club over there and was hanging out by his car when the subject came up, produced a handgun, robbed him of his cell phone, his car keys, got into the car and fled the scene. And then we had one other robbery, was an attempted robbery, 400 Florida. That one occurred about 6:45 in the afternoon on January 29th. Subject approached the victim, put a gun to his head, was trying to rob him, and got spooked by, it was actually 3 suspects. They got spooked by a car that pulled into the block and they fled the scene. For 506, we've only had one burglary lately that occurred at 1149 Owen Place. Evidently the house is under renovation, and they broke in and stole about 5,000 feet of copper wiring. Last couple days we've had a little uptick in motor vehicle thefts, because the prior week we didn't have any. And again, they seem to be happening all around the Noma Union Market area. One was at 1200 1st Street. Another one was at 501 Morris Street.
Take another minute.
Yep. Okay, and I think there was one on Miggs, and then the other one was down in Noma again at 2 M Street. And then we've had quite a bit of theft from autos, again, mostly down in the Noma area, Noma Union Market. But I can't stress enough, I mean, if you look at the theft from autos, what's being taken, one case, they left that laptop in their car. Another case, 2 purses sitting out in the open. Next one, a Mac laptop in the car. Next one, an iPhone 6 in the car. This one, a Samsung tablet along with $300 in cash sitting in the car. Another one with a cell phone, an iPod, and $300 worth of cash in the car. And this one, a cash box and a card reader. And then the last, a Samsung Galaxy S4. So again, please don't leave electronics and purses visible, because you know, it's just ripe for the taking, unfortunately.
It's not your fault, but I've repeatedly asked for a report of 505, and I noticed you mentioned Union Market, which falls in my SMD, but I would really like at our next meeting that someone's here to represent 505, or just 05.
Okay, absolutely. We were gonna get Sergeant Monahan, but unfortunately she's dealing with the situation. She's out on the street. They just actually had a robbery at the Exxon station right here. So she got tied up.
When does the new matrix take effect?
It just took effect on Sunday, so there's a whole different.
Okay, now how many officers do we have in 507?
Working today, I can tell you we have 13 working today. I don't know the total manpower yet. I haven't went over the full schedule.
But I know 505, 506, 507 definitely got increases in officers. I mean, we're pretty stacked up in those two particular PSAs.
Any last questions from commissioners? Yep.
It's not a question, it is a concern. Right here at 17th and I Street,
Okay.
at the Safeway,
Mhm.
when residents are trying to cross. Traffic is so bad, they block the area. People are in motorized wheelchair, can't cross the street. Residents who are walking have to fight the cars to get through there. And that intersection should never be blocked. Cause you never know when it's an emergency, police, fire department, ambulance, or anything. And there's too many cars blocking the intersection coming across or going over. They just pull up and just stop.
And there is a street light there.
There is a street light. They should not cross it. If the yellow light is coming, they shouldn't cross that light. There's nothing no sign saying, do not block intersection, and that should be placed on both sides.
Okay. Sergeant, could we ask you to bring an update about that for the next public safety?
I definitely can. We actually have a traffic officer down in 507, so I'll bring it up to him and see if we can do increased enforcement on that.
Thank you,
Anybody
MPD
else?
team.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Jones, if you're ready, we can go back to you.
Oh, thank you.
There's plenty of seats up front, if anybody wants to sit up front.
Hello.
How's it going?
How are you?
Okay.
Okay. I'll move out of the way. So I think a lot of probably what I was going to say was really, as I was looking at some of the Twitter action from the meeting, really there was a lot of discussion or from the council member's office regarding the mayor's Homer DC plan and the release of the all 8 wards short-term temporary housing that will be in effect. So here in Ward 5, there was a site that was selected on 25th Street Northeast Place, which is in the what people say the entertainment corridor, which is actually ANC5C. Nevertheless, this will house about 50 families for a short-term period. In the discussion of that, so more of the discussion is going to happen on Thursday. It's an opportunity for the community to come to talk about it. Many of you, we've had signed the mayor's pledge to end homelessness here in DC. There has been a lot of concerns and talk about it, and I'm encouraging you to be at the meeting, because this plan is, in my opinion, one of the most comprehensive plans to address homelessness in a short-term level for families. And so we know here in this, from ANC5D to 5C, has a lot of issues of that and families that experience homelessness throughout the ward, but more importantly, there are sites that are in both commissions. And so there's an opportunity to hear from our city administrator. He will be the speaker. He will, and to hear from you, the community. So I think the council member's office talked about it. As you saw in the email today and on the council hearings, the council member expressed some of his concerns and his things that he was very concerned about. And so this is an opportunity for the community to hear the whole presentation, to hear the same comments that were heard from the council member, the same comments that were heard with advisory neighborhood commissioners and individuals. It's the same opportunity for you, and I'm encouraging you to attend on Thursday. And to keep following that. So if you go on the mayor's website at mayor.dc.gov /homeward.dc, you'll be able to see the whole comprehensive plan. And I think in this commission alone, as I look at some of the things that you all have done to provide affordable housing for individuals here throughout the District of Columbia, in particular in Ward 5, and supporting the effort, because it's going to take all of us, because at any moment, at any time, we could have that experience of homelessness here in the district. So just want to encourage that. I do have some information that is online that I'll put in the back to talk in particular about the site, talk in particular about some of the things that will be at the site. I don't want to go into questions because I think everybody should come to the presentation to hear those questions. And I don't want to get into that because that'll alleviate the time. But,
I do have a brief comment.
Sure.
First, I want to thank you for your report, and also to send messages to our mayor that her gargantuan task of taking on homelessness, that's really a lot of our mayors, all of our mayors have struggled with that issue, and I appreciate this announcement today. It is my understanding, without going into further detail, that this is an industrial area.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a non-residential area. It's privately owned.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that it represents a good opportunity for us to get our neighbors into shelter that is habitable, that is humane and it is, you know, good for families. So I certainly support the mayor's efforts. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you,
And I look forward to attending that meeting on Thursday.
thank you.
Is that the same meeting that Ms. Dougherty that you?
Same meeting.
Okay,
same.
thank you.
Thank you, that's
Great.
it, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. All right, so next on the agenda are these are requested presentations that you'll see a commissioner's name, and that is the name of the commissioner that requested that item to be on the agenda. And first up, I believe Commissioner Henderson, there was a last minute addition, removal of 777 17th Street. Is there anything briefly you'd like to say about that presentation?
Sure. It is appropriate for any developer to come to the single member district first, to hear the concerns of the affected neighbors, to get their feedback, and to make any adjustments to the project before they come to the full body to seek a vote. So since this project is not, they don't have a set down hearing as yet, it's preliminary. It's premature actually for them to come before the commission. So I look forward to meeting with them again. We've already met with them once. They had, the project looks good. We want to hear more feedback from the community, and then of course they'll come back when we're ready to vote.
Thank you, Commissioner Henderson. Next up is item number 6. This is a presentation from the Coalition for Smarter Growth about inclusionary zoning and some changes being proposed there. So Ms. Hart, you have the floor for 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Do you all know what inclusionary zoning is? You want to, I'll just sum up. It is a land use program created by the Zoning Commission that requires all developers of new residential multifamily complexes to include a portion of units that will be affordable. And in return for that, the developers get a bonus density that allows them to build, have more units than they otherwise would have. It's a wonderful idea because it doesn't cost the city anything. It's I guess our only cost-free affordable housing program. The problem, there is a real problem though. The program was created in 2006. It set the affordability limits for rental housing at 80% of the median family income, which is about $70,000. Well, $70,000 for a family of 2. Well, those families can pretty much afford market rate housing. And it's been very difficult to lease some of the inclusionary units. The Coalition for Smarter Growth, along with other organizations, including the League of Women Voters, of which I am a member, thinks very strongly that the affordability targeting should be lower. And we think it should be at 60% of the median family income, which is about $50,000 for a household of 2. The Zoning Commission was going to have a hearing late in January about this, and I attended the hearing thinking I would testify, but they decided to postpone the hearing because the chair of the commission, Anthony Hood, who is himself a Ward 5 resident, said, we need to hear from the ANCs. So it is my hope this ANC will say, yes, we need to lower the income targeting to 60% of the median family income. And thank you very much for considering this tonight.
I have a comment.
With about 2 minutes left, any questions?
Yeah. We've had lengthy discussions about inclusionary zoning, the whole zoning rewrite, and I know that Commissioner Lewis and myself, and I think the other commissioners also have expressed a desire to have the AMI, the area median income, actually lowered to 50% of the median, 50%, because we believe that would really address the affordable housing component that is really lacking in the city. So we certainly appreciate your
I agree with you,
presentation.
and
So
so
thank you.
does the Coalition for Smarter Growth. We actually submitted a recommendation to the Zoning Commission that they lower it to 50%. The Office of Planning, which is sort of the research arm of the zoning commission, did a economic analysis and they said it just won't work. I think if you're going to express yourselves, I would hope you would say, first, you must lower the income targeting. We think there's a chance they will pass the zoning commission will change it to 60%, which will make a huge difference. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that when you make your decision of what you will ask for, but
Thank you.
please ask for lowering the affordability level.
Any other questions from commissioners? Any questions from the public? We have about 45 seconds left on this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I have a question. She said that we can, give input. Are we going to do it as a commission or should we do it individually? Because I would like to put a vote to do that.
Sure. When is the zoning commission hearing?
It's the 3rd of March.
Okay, so the commission would need to, if we want to vote on a resolution tonight, we need to do it tonight before the March meeting. You're certainly welcome to make a motion if you'd like to do that.
I motion that, ANC5D support, the rewrite for the inclusionary zoning to 60% or less.
Second that.
Discussion. I actually, Commissioner, if you could amend your motion to 50%, I think that we do have, there is a will on the zoning commission to address 50%. And I think the fallback position should be 60 if we can't get 50, but if you would accept the amendment.
I accept the amendment.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, so just to repeat the motion, the motion is to support a lowering of the AMI to 50% or alternatively a 60%. Is that correct?
No, 50%.
Our letter should state 50%.
50%. Okay. All right, so with that, if you are for that motion, please say yes.
Yes.
If you're against that motion, please say no. Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Thank
First
you
one
again.
done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up we have Ms. Minsami Gray from the PC Paid Family Leave regarding Universal Paid Leave Act. Welcome. You have the floor for 5 minutes.
Awesome. Good evening, guys. Nice to meet all of you. Thank you for having me. As
A little tight.
As he mentioned, I'm volunteering with the DC Paid Family Leave Coalition. Have you guys heard about the Paid Family Leave Bill? Have you guys heard if it's passed or if it hasn't passed? It has not passed yet. Okay, so we are having a testimony. There'll be a final, the bill is out, there'll be a final testimony on the 11th, this Thursday. We are looking for more Ward 5 residents to come and support. Basically, the DC Paid Family Leave Bill will offer 16 weeks of paid leave. Your employer pays into a program like it's an insurance program, so it's 1% of your salary. They will reimburse up to not reimburse. They will give, it'll be about $1,000 per week up to your salary, and then 50% if you're making more than $1,000 per week after that. So it's a paid leave program for DC. It's a great bill. We need more support for it. Councilmember McDuffie was one of the sponsors, and so we really appreciate him, but they definitely need more stories and more support with the meetings. I will leave information on the back table. It's just a one-pager about paid family leave and a card if you would like to get in touch with the main organizer on the campaign. And that's pretty much all I have. Do you guys have questions?
How does it work if you live in the DC but then like work in Virginia or Maryland?
So they're still discussing language around that about like reverse commuters, because they can't force businesses in Maryland and Virginia to also pay into this tax. So there's still discussion being worked out around that.
But if you work the other way, so if you live in Virginia but work in DC, you get it?
Then you'll be in the pool here because your boss is paying into the insurance.
So,
I'm gonna take. Did you have questions?
When will the vote take place approximately? Or
do you want to answer that?
Is it at the next legislative meeting? I don't have the agenda for the next legislative meeting.
Yeah. At the next meeting, we're doing testimonies this 11th. I don't know what day the exact.
So normally the legislative meeting is on the first Tuesday of every month, but an agenda hasn't been introduced yet, so I'm not sure if it's.
soon. And so it definitely needs more support. They need more letters. They need more testimonies on why this vote is important. And the information is all on the website too. And